One workshop that we've got running is called Finding New Homes. And I've drawn out of the fact pack that is available on the internet about what's happening in Camden, that over the last few years we've had an average of 160 new affordable homes delivered every year. Now that actually masks some peaks and some troughs, and our forecast is that we're going to have an average of 220 new affordable homes planned until the end of 13-14. 220 doesn't sound very much, but believe me, every sort of new home that we can deliver is vital to us. But those 220 aren't going to be easy to deliver. So the workshop is concentrating on looking at creative and innovative ways to build more homes using some of the ideas Anne's been talking to us about around our infill sites, or in Camden we coined the phrase small sites, looking at those spaces and how we can best use them. But also, I think, for that workshop, thinking through how we can deliver those precious new homes as quickly and effectively as possible, bearing in mind that communities will have different views about any proposal that comes forward. Because we can't build vast numbers of new affordable homes, we're going to have to think about how we make best use of existing homes. So there's a workshop running on that, and that is about all the ways in which we can do that. We have brought back 69 empty properties back into use in 2009-10. So how can we do more of that? How can we work together to do more of that? And Anne gave us a great example about an initiative where that has been happening. So is that kind of idea what we want to take forward in Camden? Tackling illegal occupancy is a really important part of making the best use of existing homes and reducing voids. So all good sort of things to think about in that workshop. Of course, we can't just think about the social housing sector. We have to think about the private rented sector, a really, really important part of the housing tenure in Camden. So what impact will the benefit changes have on that sector and our use of that of private rented sector? What's likely to happen? So an opportunity to reflect on all of that and how we can mitigate the worst effects of that and keep a very vibrant private rented sector in Camden. The consultation told us that the conditions and standards of both homes in council stock and also the privately rented sector were important to people. And on this slide here, I just flagged up the way in which we have made significant improvements. In 2004, as Anne rightly depicted, 92% of council stock was below the government's decent home standard. Now, I'm not going to debate here and now about whether that was the right standard and what that standard means, but in the workshop, there is an invitation to think about what is the right standard to be measuring ourselves against. We have made significant inroads, and already we've brought that 92% down to 40%, and our plans are such that that's going to reduce even further quite quickly. So again, some more things to explore there in the workshop. But also we want to think about standards in the private rented sector and how we can bring standards up there. You told us in the consultation that allocations were important, and making sure that the council's houses and homes were allocated to those most in need. So how do we do that? What are the opportunities for rethinking our allocations process? We have 21,000 people on our needs register, but according to various kind of ways of looking at needs, we estimate that doesn't necessarily represent a good way of identifying, a good way of describing people's housing needs. So what's a fairer way and a better way? And then finally, I think Anne used the phrase, housing is not just housing, and we firmly and passionately believe that housing has to be thought about in that wider sense. And particularly, I would add to what Anne said, that the sense of well-being that housing has and its role in promoting and creating well-being. The government's current plans are for councils all over the country to take more of a responsibility for public health. And I think right at the heart of that is the role of housing. So what do you think the council needs to do more of in terms of, as a landlord, to think about housing and its role in promoting prosperity and well-being? And in terms of the services that we provide at the moment, what are your views and your thoughts? So those are 6 workshops that you've been allocated to or chosen to go to, and that's an introduction to the kind of themes that we hope will be discussed in those workshops.